Good day and welcome to today's basic technology class. Our topic for today is titled rescue operations. Rescue operation. When hearing the word rescue operation, what is the first thing that comes to mind? What is the first thing that comes to mind? All right. So the very first thing that comes to mind is the picture of someone, who is in an hazardous situation. Someone who needs help. Someone who needs to be saved from a situation that requires urgency, all right, such as victims of accident, you understand, such as victims of fire outbreak, all right. Even before first aid is being administered to such person first of all needs to be rescued, all right. Such person needs to be rescued, all right. So then, what is rescue operation? Rescue itself comprises responsive operations that usually involve the saving of life or prevention of injury during an incident or dangerous situation. That is rescue. Alright, it involves what? Saving of life, prevention of injury during an incident or dangerous situation, while rescue operation itself is a planned activity. It is not just any activity such as writing, singing, running, you understand. It is something that is pre-planned, you understand. So it has a code of conduct or a code of ethic, you understand. So that is rescue operation. All right, a planned activity which is carried out in order to free people from dangers or other life-threatening situations. All right, so just picture a car driving off from the third mainland bridge, then falling inside the water underneath the bridge. So do you think a single person can rescue the driver or the passenger inside that car? It is impossible. What is required here is what? Is a team. And when we are talking about team, it like 3, 4, 5 people working together, you understand. And these people are trained, they have their own skill set, you understand. You won't just expect me as a teacher now to say I want to go and rescue someone whose car fell inside the water from the third mainland bridge. No, you understand, because it is not my area of specialization. But these people who are known as the rescuers, you understand, they are trained in this field. That is why rescue operation is called a planned activity, because those who are involved in it are what? They are trained, just like the first aider, you understand. They are trained, all right. So rescue operations usually demand prompt actions being taken to save life or prevent injury after an accident. You know, we have the fire safety commission, yes or no? And what is their function? Their function is to attend to situations that involves fire outbreak, you understand, be it in an industry or in a home. And also, you know, on our highway we have the Federal Road Safety Corps, all right. They are also a form of rescuers, because if there were to be any accident on the highway, on the road, then the road safety have the utmost right to perform what? To perform a rescue operation therein, all right. So rescue operations involve the use of tools that are needed in emergency situation. The people involved in rescue operations require skills in the administration of the tools and the equipment needed for the operation, all right. That's just it. So it is unlike me that I handle a matter which you can handle. So as a rescuer now, you must, let's say a fire is fire service now, the fire service operation, you understand, the fire safety operation, the people working there. So in case of fire outbreak, they have some equipment which they use, you understand. Some mount the ladder, some let the water pumping machine, they get it rolling, and there are several aspects, you understand. So that's just it. You won't just expect a normal human being like me to perform fire safety operation, except if it is a domestic fire, understand. But if it is a very wide fire, no, I can't do anything. So such scenarios requires the attention of what? Of the fire safety people, all right. Rescue operations could be needed for victims of fire, road and water accidents. I think I explained this earlier on. Rescue operations are carried out by trained firemen, police, military, first aid or ambulance attendants. Alright, so this set of people are usually trained to carry out rescue operations on people who are in need of it. Okay, so that leads us to this next subtopic, which is tools used in rescue operations. We have varieties of tools, but I listed just a little here. All right, so the very first one I have here is what is the fire extinguisher. All right, you know, if your dad owns a car, he must surely have a fire extinguisher, or else he will be harassed or even fined by either the police or the Federal Road Safety Commission, the FRSC. Yeah, you'll be fined by those people because they must ensure you have your safety kit, yeah, on board. And one of the most important one in motor vehicles is what is the fire extinguisher. Even in our school year, you know, we have fire extinguisher in the school in case of what? In case of fire outbreak. All right, so number two, we have ropes. You will be amazed, what do we use rope for? Okay, if the structure where there is a fire outbreak is a high rise building and the stairways covered with fire, okay, peradventure you find a way of getting to the, let's say, fourth floor, and you have to come down, the stairways is covered with fire. So as a rescuer, you can make use of rope. Yeah, you can make use of rope to convey yourself and the victim to where? To a safer place. All right, so the third tool here is the caution triangle, and this is usually used by motorists. All right, this is usually used by motorists. So in case of road accident or maybe a car breakdown along the road, you will see them, they place what? They place this caution triangle of it. Some might come in a white and red form, you understand? Yeah, so they place it like, let's say, 2 or 3 meters, yeah, before the place of incident, or even more than 2 or 3 meters before the place of incident, so that people coming might be aware that they need to be cautious when getting to that particular area or location. All right, so the first one is the ambulance. Yeah, the ambulance. All right, so the ambulance is usually present. Yeah, it is used to convey victims that have enormous injury, if their injury is much, you understand, or in life threatening. So you need an ambulance to convey such victim immediately, yeah, to the hospital for proper medical treatment. We also have the stretcher. All right, the stretcher, this one is mostly used, it is common, yeah, in sports, especially football. So if any of the player gets injured and he or she can't help his or herself off the playing field, what do? The safety operators here brings on their stretcher so as to convey the victim off the pitch for proper medical treatment. All right, so the next subtopic is different aspects of rescue operations. So the first one is securing the environment. So as a rescuer, you need to have a knowledge of the environment. Yeah, okay, let's assume it's somewhere that there is actually fire outbreak. So on getting there, you need to secure the environment. You need to ensure that nothing that has gasoline, yeah, nothing that is flammable gets near to that environment, so as not to increase the amount of fire outbreak. All right, so you need to secure your environment as a rescuer. The second one is that you need to control the hazard, which is what? Hazard control. All right, so you need to manage the risk of uncontrollable hazard. For example, you know, in case of earthquake, whenever earthquake occurs, it is not advisable for you as an individual to just go into the building that just experienced earthquake, because most of the walls that are still standing in that building, they will be shaking, they are not strong, they can fall off at any time. So as a rescuer, you will know what to do to minimize the risk which might likely occur during. All right. So the third one there is gaining access to the patient. Gaining access to the patient. So in case of fire outbreak, you understand, as a rescuer you must not say, okay, because the whole building is filled with fire, we want to rescue whosoever is inside the building. No, you must try and find a means of what, of gaining access. That is why rescue operation is said to be a planned activity. You understand? And that is why it is said to require expertise, trained individuals to carry it out. It can't just be carried out by anybody. You must be trained in that aspect. If it were to be a drowned swimmer, it must be people who are trained in rescuing people involved in water accidents. You understand? If you were to be road, we have the Federal Road Safety Commission there. If it were to be fire, that's why we have the Fire Safety Commission. All right. So, and many more like that. All right. So the first one says medical treatment. Medical treatment. All right. So you must ensure adequate medical equipment and appliances are provided to help the victim. All right. So the fifth one says release from physical entrapment, which must be driven by patient's needs. All right. So for example, now let's assume it's a car accident and the victim is still on his or her seatbelt. You understand? The victim is trapped herein. So as a rescuer, you must ensure you help the victim, you understand, by releasing them from such entrapment so as to rescue them. All right. The sixth one is patient packaging. All right. So ensure that the severity of each patient's condition after an incident differs. All right. So let's assume the patient suffers from a broken bone. You understand? So you need to handle such patients with care. You understand? You need to ensure they are carried properly. You can't just drag them anyhow or tell them to walk by themselves. No, you need to show care. You need to package them. You understand? You need to treat them carefully so as to prevent worsening of their present situation. All right. So the seventh one says transportation. After doing that, the next thing is what? Look for transportation, e.g. an ambulance. You understand? Or a car, just to convey victims of dangerous incidents to the hospital for proper medical attention. All right. So then next is what? Steps involved in rescue operations. Steps involved in rescue operations. All right. So the very first one here is assemble the rest of the group to discuss the situation and collect information. That's the very first thing you need to do as a rescuer. You assemble your team, you understand, and you discuss what are we going to do. You understand? Collect information about the area. All right. So about the area, there will be people who are familiar with the environment of the incident. So you ask questions as a rescuer. You don't just close your mouth. You ask questions. All right. Okay, is this area, is there any petroleum pipeline passing through this area? You understand? Questions that are actually useful. All right. So number 2, assign duties to the team based on skills and available equipment. For example, now let's assume a car that fell off the third mainland bridge into the water underneath. So there you will assign duty to your team. Some will work with the machinery, the heavy machine equipment that is going to pull out the car. Some, there will be swimmers who will go under the water and attach the rope of the lift. You understand? Attach the rope of the lift to the car so as to convey it out. You understand? So such as that. Or let's assume a fire outbreak. There will be people who their own function will be to look for openings or exit from the building. Some will be like, okay, their duty is to carry the ladder, because if it is only one person that will carry the ladder, that will look for an escape route, that will also go and on the pumping machine to carry the water hose, then even the victim will have given up the ghost before such person actually finishes what he or she is doing. So but if you have a team, you will have assigned duty to each of them according to their skills and based on the equipment available. So the third one says study an area map and review likely travel routes such as streams and ridge tops. The missing party personnel will offer clues. All right. So that's it. So the fourth one says equip search team with a walkie-talkie, alright, a topographic map and global positioning system, that's the GPS. This gear allows for constant flow of information between searches and base camp, alright. So that's just it. So if there is a reasonable distance between where you use as your base camp and where you are to carry out the rescue operation, so you need to equip your search team with a means of communication. You understand? You won't just leave them alone, because if they are in need of help or whatever, how will they convey information to those of you outside? Alright, so you need to provide all these gadgets so that you can what? You can pass information throughout and among yourselves. Alright, so the 51 says restrict the search team to small, well-defined area if walkie-talkies and GPS are not available. That's just it. Alright, so if the GPS to know your position, to know where you are, to know your location, if that is not available and a walkie-talkie is not available and there is no advanced means of communication between you and your team, ensure the team is restricted to a small as your classroom area, so that whenever you need help you can easily say, hey, I need your help sir, I need your help ma. Not that some will be in junior school, you understand, in JS2 block, and some will be in senior school, SS2 block. You know the distance is what is very far, or someone should be at chemistry lab in senior school. So how do you pass information to each other without any gadgets to communicate with? So it is going to be very strenuous for you to actually communicate with one another. That is why it is advised, it is advisable that you ensure the team is shortened. The search team to you restrict them to small and well defined area. Alright, so the next one says evaluate how much time and effort is needed to get outside help. Alright, so the seventh one is that make preparation for evacuating an injured person. So when considering the severity of the injured person, so if it's someone that can't walk on his or herself, then you need to make provisions for transportation. That's it. Alright, make provisions for an ambulance. Alright, so that is that. And the eighth one says observe standard first aid techniques when evacuating an injured person. For example, now let's assume the person actually has a fractured leg. You understand? You can't just pull the person anyhow. No, you handle the person you handle them with care, and you also allay their fears that, hey, calm down madam, calm down sir, all is going to be well, it is just a little. You understand? You try and administer first aid if bleeding is occurring. So as a rescuer, you administer first aid, you try and stop the gushing out of blood, by applying the first aid techniques. Alright, so that is that about that. Thank you.